We fast forward, we got celebrating. The new champion is making his
Two sheets.
debut at the parade, the Greco-Roman Parade 2026. And here have it. 3 today with two-piece, piece and two-piece designer bag. And the honor for the honor of the red, white, and the natural champions. And they win that. Mm. This is a perfect paper and for this designer Sean Steele. I made the material, tutorial. And I think very good job. I was not wonderful, 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 incredible, wonderful, beautiful. And honor, honor we honor a tribute to the cause and dedicated to this wonderful team. team. And behind the scenes did a great job. Emotional. And nice to be nice colors and we're figuring my inspiration. It was a long, well, it's so inspiring inspiration. And I admire the story honoring the Jewish Japanese with just the two-piece. It is designed by Latin designer Sean Steele, and of course, I'm so inspired to fighting team with the fight this and say, fight, fight, fight. A big parade will be. It was everything was so emotional. It's so emotional to hear how you went right forward in 3 hours.
timeline here. I'm just going to move the lens up here. If I go to the end again, I'm going to drag it over so it's in line. As you can see, it's just falling down a little bit.
Sean,
so once you've completed your animation, you're ready to export it. All you have to do is click this tiny little button here at the end of the timeline, go to render video, and then there should be a preset for YouTube under H.264. So if you just pull down this drop down, go down to YouTube 1080p. You can choose your frame rate. Some people like 24, some people like 25. I'm going to leave mine at 29.97. I'm just going to choose my hard drive here. I'm going to rename this to Parallax Photoshop, and then simply just press render, and you'll see the final result on the screen now.
Bugs is dead. Went to heaven.
Okay, so there we go, guys. That is how you do the effect in Photoshop. If that's what you wanted now to do, feel free to stop watching the tutorial here. Otherwise, stick around because we're going to take it and taking it to the next level. At the beginning of our timeline, we're going to make a keyframe using the stopwatch on position. And we're going to go back to the end of the timeline and click the little diamond here to make another keyframe. And then right at the beginning, we're just going to edit the Z space here a little bit, something like that. Go to the end of the timeline and zoom it all the way out, something around there. That looks good to me. Maybe a little bit like that. So obviously now we need to rescale the background. So we can go to the background, press S, scale that right up to 205, scale the smoke up so it gets to 12, 940 looks good. And then we go back to the beginning and press spacebar, and there we go, we are already getting that parallax effect we're looking for. It's looking a lot better than the Photoshop version. We can make this slightly better by going back to the beginning of the timeline and moving this down a little bit in Y space. Something like that should be good. Let's press space again. And there we go, so the camera just slightly moves upwards now, which just further adds to the effect. But that is pretty much it for the parallax effect and After Effects. You can stop there if you want, but I'm going to take it a little bit further and add some movement to my arms and head and the lens as well. So if we click on the knee layer, we go to the end of the timeline, we go to the top of the window here and click the puppet pin tool. Basically what this does is it makes pins which kind of act as joints. So we're going to click and make one on my hand there, we're going to make one on my other hand, make one in the middle of my face, one kind of near this shoulder, one on this shoulder, I'm going to put one on my body, and then I'm going to put 3 down here at my legs, just as an anchor to keep myself straight. So, as you can see, if I press U whilst carrying that layer selected, it's made keyframes for each of the pins. So if I go back to the beginning of the timeline and make another keyframe for each one, so if I just click and hold and move my mouse down, it's going to do that automatically for me. So we've got a keyframe at the beginning and the end for each and every pin now. So we can start moving them around and affecting my arms and head. So I'm thinking my hands will probably be down a little bit at the start, my head will be a little bit forwards. So if we bring this hand down like this, we bring this hand down like this, bring my head a little bit forwards, and then go to the end of the timeline, and we're going to bring this hand up a little bit like that, I'm going to bring this hand in like that, and then we're going to bring the head back a tiny bit so I'm looking up at it, and then we're just going to finally bring the body a bit more straight like that. Now if I go back to the beginning and press play now, you can see we've now got a nice bit of subtle movement on my arms and head, and just bringing the photo to life even more. So the final thing we're going to do is we're going to add some movement to the camera lens. So if I click on this layer, click on the camera lens layer, and then I go to the beginning of the timeline, press P for position, make a keyframe there, press R for rotation, make a keyframe on the Z rotation, then I'm going to press U to bring up all the keyframes, go to the end of the timeline, I'm just going to move this down here, I'm going to rotate it to something like that, I'm going to go back to the timeline, I'm just going to
the episode.
move that there,
He's a great
I
man.
that should be good. We press play now. And there we go, guys. That is pretty much the final result. You probably want to spend longer than I did trying to get it as perfect as you can. You've got to admit, it looks pretty damn good as it is. Once you finish your animations and you are ready to render it out, you're going to go back to that main composition. And as you can see, here it is, all nicely framed, ready to render. We're going to go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue. We're going to click on Lossless, change that to QuickTime. Got format options, make sure everything's looking good. 2.264, 20k, bitrate, looks all good to me. Press OK, and we're going to name this to Parallax Tut AE. Save, and we're going to click and drag this whole line up to 200%, like so. And then we're going to hold Shift and press the right arrow key twice to go 10 frames forward. And this is the frame where I want to start slow motion, but as you can see, it's not in the clip where I want to start slow motion. So to change that, we're going to press Y on our keyboard to frames in from the end, make another keyframe, drag this up to 200. And then we're just going to trim this down a little bit. And there we go, guys. If I play that out for you. It's not the exact timing I wanted. Kind of wanted the slow motion to start a little bit later when he's headbang, but you get the idea, guys. It's basically making the cut a little bit smoother in between, whilst doing the same thing we did before, but just with music this time. So as you can hear, it's on the cut. But there we go. That is pretty much it, guys. The only last thing I guess I can show you is something that you can do to smooth out the transition between fast and slow. I tend not to do this when I'm editing to music because it does kind of move your keyframes around, but what you've got to do is you've got to click on the keyframe, drag it out like this. As you can see, it will make a ramp. That's why we call it speed ramping. And drag this layer up a little bit, and then you'll get this little handle which you can click and drag to make a nice little S curve. Now what that's going to do is it's just going to make a much smoother transition from fast to slow. As you can see, this one's more sudden, and this one's more smooth. It's very subtle, but it's kind of a good way of making your speed ramping flow a little bit better. But as I said before, as you can see, it does mess around with the placement of your keyframes, and because I want to keep them at 10 frames usually on every clip, I tend not to do this when I'm editing to music on this track. It's going to vary from track to track. So
and there you have, finish in touch.
the best.
Finish in touch.